Hi everyone, welcome to Graphic Design 1. I'm your instructor. My name is Rachel Smith. A little bit about me. I am an instructor at Solano who has taught here since 2013. I do a bunch of stuff in addition to teaching, which is to say that I really appreciate feedback on my courses and the program in general because I make a lot of the material for it. And apply for grants for funding our lab spaces, equipment, and other stuff. I graduated from UC Berkeley and UC Davis for my master's. I have connections with some faculty and a lot of alumni of our program who go to these schools. So if you're interested in going to school for design, I'm happy to connect you with faculty and Solano alumni who are in these programs or graduated from them. I've worked as a graphic designer for a long time and have experience across several different areas, including branding, web design, animation, and print. And we created the digital media program in 2021. We were part of the art department, and now we have labs in Vallejo and Fairfield, which I hope to see some of you at in in-person classes if you're able to do that. Again, I really appreciate feedback. We'll have surveys at the beginning, middle, and end of this course so that you can provide that feedback. So what is graphic design? It's a very broad discipline that incorporates many different fields right now. These are some of the fields that graphic design can be used within. Design itself is all around us every day in the built environment. So we'll be looking at these areas from more of a broad survey perspective because this is a beginner course. I wanted to talk briefly about abstraction. This is a very simple way of understanding it with this illustration by Christoph Niemann called the abstractometer, and shows a scale from too realistic to abstraction. So you can see there's like a realistic illustration of a heart, the icon that we're most familiar with using, and then too abstract, which is like, we can't really tell it's a heart, right? So there's a lot of room in this scale, but the sweet spot is what we really try to hit when we design things like logos and icons for identity projects. The elements of graphic design are the building blocks, the basic visual components that make up work, right? Line, shape, and form, color, value, space, and texture. We have the principles of graphic design, which are guidelines that help kind of organize information in a composition. These are pattern, contrast, scale, movement, emphasis, balance, and alignment. So what design principles and elements do you see in these examples, right? You might see, on first glance, you see line, color, form, right? But then you also see things like balance, texture in the back of this composition with the runner. You see elements of emphasis and sort of drawing the eye towards a subject with color and line here. And in these examples, we see alignment in terms of a grid. We see information that is kind of placed, centrally focused, written, and portrayed in more of a grid-like fashion. Same with over here too, right? Where we have this text that's kind of aligned on a grid. The shapes, we see shapes here, we see color, we see a pattern, and we see elements of more of an expressive sort of balance and form emphasis here with the text kind of more expressively draped around the figure, right? I wanted to share some more illustration examples and design examples. Christoph Niemann is a designer who works as an illustrator, so his illustrations are very graphic, right? These lines function as stairs. These ink splots or spots function as foliage we're seeing on the left side, and then we see these lines and forms emphasizing what looks to be a building. We see here Jade Purple Brown is using really expressive color and line, and also something which we'll learn about next week called continuity, which is a Gestalt principle that draws your eye through a composition using lines and form, oftentimes asymmetry to create sort of an energy flowing through a composition. Luis Pinto uses color and line and pattern here really effectively, and then the text is hidden within these fingertips. This week, we'll also introduce the Adobe Illustrator interface. This is how it looks when you open up the program. And if you buy it through College Buys, you have access to cloud storage, which will show up below in the recent here. When you're saving your work this week, I want you to save it as a PDF. So the way you do that is go to File, not Save, but Save As, and save it as a PDF. Saving your work in general, if you get Adobe through College Buys, again, you should have access to cloud storage, which means you can save it within the program. But if you pay through Adobe through a private account, I am not completely certain that those have cloud storage access across the board. Academic accounts may be different. They're changing some of these features in 2026. Can't wait to get started. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.